Good morning and Assalamu alaikum to all my dear students. I hope that you all are well and fine. I warmly welcome you back to the class of Social Studies. This is your teacher, Ms. Zunaira. So today we are back with another lecture. So let's get started. So students, today we are going to continue our one of the chapter that we started, and it was sources of energy. It is going to be the last class of our chapter sources of energy. Here we would wind up our chapter, and as you know that this is your chapter number 7 and it is on page number 49 of your social studies book. So let's get started. The main word in this chapter is sources of energy, and in the background you can see many of the sources that can produce energy. So, as we had learned about it, that there are different kinds of things which can create or release different kind of energies. So let's start and see what kind of things are involved and what kind of energy they produce. Before that, we are going to have a reading session to see the important lines from this chapter. So this is your page number 49 where your chapter starts. And here I have underlined some of the important lines so we can read them out. So let's get started. All around us, energy is causing the things to happen. If we see around us, we can see many of the things that are happening. What caused them to happen? Energy. There is always a kind of energy which is causing things to happen. There are different kinds of things which can be done, and they can be done through different energies. We use energy for heating, cooking, powering ships, planes, cars, producing electricity. Fossil fuels are the substances that give off heat when they burn. Fossil fuels are the substances that give off what? That give off heat when they burn. And there are three main types of fossil fuels, and these are coal, oil, and natural gas. Fossil fuels are easy to mine and they can burn readily in the air. Oil and gas lie many meters beneath the ground. So let's start from oil. Oil or petroleum. They come from oil wells. Oil and gas are drilled on the land and under the sea. Gasoline, kerosene, and diesel, all the oils are separated from the petroleum or oil. So it means it would not be wrong to say that oil is a mixture of different oils, including gasoline, kerosene, diesel, petrol. After taking them out from under the ground, they all are separated. And what kind of task they are being used? They can be used for powering ships. They are used for different purposes. They are used in industries as well. Now here comes the next page of your chapter, which is page number 50. It starts from a paragraph of coal. Coal is mined and crushed and washed before use. Here you can see that oil serves about 40% of world's energy. As we know that fossil fuels are the sources of energy, and sources of energy means the things from which we can get the energy. So fossil fuels are serving the world for different energies, and their ratio is different. So if we talk about oil, so it serves about 40% of world's total energy. And when it comes to coal, it gives 25% of energy. And if we talk about the gas serves about 21% of world's energy. Apart from fossil fuels, there are different means of there are different means of electricity production, and they include hydroelectric power as well. Hydroelectric power is generated by turbines driven by falling water, okay, with great pressure. Okay, here you can see that huge dams are built to store water in the artificial lakes. The water is released under pressure and they drive the turbine and it can generate electricity. Apart from hydroelectric power, there is another kind of power which is electrical fuel, which we can see that nuclear fuel. Nuclear fuel, usually a kind of element is used in it which is uranium. It is put into a nuclear reactor and it produces great amount of energy. Apart from hydroelectric power and nuclear fuel, wind is a free and constant source of energy. Wind is a free and constant source of energy. And as we know about the sun is the greatest source of energy. It gives us heat and light. It means it gives us light and heat energy, which is converted in other forms by solar collectors. We use solar collectors at our homes so they can convert the solar light or solar energy into electricity. The solar panels collect heat from the sun and solar cells convert sunlight into electricity. In the last paragraph, you can see some of the types of energies which are used or being produced in Pakistan. This is the last page of your chapter Sources of Energy and it is page number 51, where you can see some facts about energy sources in Pakistan. If we talk about the fossil fuels that include coal, oil and natural gas, and so if we see the sources of energy in Pakistan, coal reserves are in Pakistan, they are usually found in the Salt Range around Quetta and in Lower Sindh. Oil fields are located near Potwar. Lagari oil fields are the largest in Pakistan. And the last one is gas. The gas fields are located in Balochistan, Sindh and Punjab. And the largest gas field is at Sui. That is why we call it as Sui gas as well. The second largest is at Murree. Other sources are here where you can see the wind energy is used, solar energy is used, biogas is used. What is this biogas? Biogas plants have been developed in many rural areas for our country. Biogas is produced by cow dung and human waste. It seems very strange to see that biogas is beneficial for us, and from what kind of things they are made? They are made by cow dung and human waste. Here you can see that in Pakistan hydroelectricity is used. Okay, it means by hydroelectric power energy is produced. And the other means of producing electricity is thermal energy. Most of the thermal power plants are in Karachi. If we talk about the nuclear energy, we have a nuclear power plant at Karachi known as Kanab. This Kanab means the nuclear power plant that is in Karachi. We have another nuclear power plant that is in Chashma, so it is known as Chashnab. So let's take some of the easier examples now. Electrical energy. Everybody is familiar with this. Solar energy, mechanical energy, light energy, chemical energy, sound energy, and thermal energy. Many of the things are happening around us due to the electrical energy. Okay, and we might have seen many things are happening due to the solar energy. Mechanical energy, light energy, chemical energy, and the sound energy. These all are the common types of the energies. What we have to focus in this chapter, we have to see, the focus should be what are the sources of these energy. We are getting the solar energy, but the name of solar energy is indicating itself that energy is coming from something like sun, and electrical energy is showing the energy that we are getting from electricity. Thermal energy is the energy which we are getting from the temperature. Okay, so we have to see that from where that energy is coming, how the energy is produced. Okay, this is what our chapter is, sources of energy. We would see what are the different sources which can generate, which can create the energy. So after understanding energy, we are going to learn about fossil fuels. What are the fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are the things which you can see in the background, and which is coal, oil, and natural gas. How can we define fossil fuels? Let's see. Fossil fuels, the substance that give off heat when they burn. The substances that give off heat when they burn. Actually, what are these? These are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. They were formed millions years ago from the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. The most important fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gas. Okay, so let's discuss it again. Fossil fuels are the substances that give off heat when they burn. As I told you that we would see the sources of energy. So what kind of energy we are getting from fossil fuels? We are getting the heat energy. When they are burned, they give off heat. Okay, they give off heat when they are burnt. And what are these actually? These are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. Millions years ago, there used to be plants and animals, as we know. Okay, when they were died, their remains remained under the ground. For example, their bones. Okay, but by the decaying of this matter, by the breakdown of this matter, coal, oil, and natural gas, these kind of things can be formed. Okay, now we are going to learn them one by one. Let's learn about the first type of fossil fuel, which is coal. Coal is mined, crushed, and washed before use. Coal, which we call in Urdu as koila, that is mined. It means the coal is taken from underground. Okay, coal is mined, crushed, and washed before use. Most of the world's electricity, it makes most of the world's electricity. As we are talking about the sources of energy, so electricity is a source of energy. Okay, and most of the world's electricity is generated from the coal. It lies deep underground. It serves about 25% of world's energy. Okay, from the total energy which is utilized by world, the 25% of the world's energy is served by coal. The second fossil fuel which we are going to learn now is oil, which is also called as petroleum. Okay, oil or the petroleum is drilled on the ground or under the sea. Okay, we can get it from under the ground and from under the sea. The picture which you can see in the background is of land, but It can also be taken from under the sea. It is used for powering engines and running industries, gasoline, kerosene, and diesel. These all are separated from the oil. Okay, when oil is drilled out of the land, it is a kind of mixture of oils. After taking it out, the gasoline, kerosene, and diesel, these all are separated from the oil or the petroleum. It serves about 40% of world's energy. As I told you that in the second point you can see oil is drilled on the land, as you can see in the background, plus under the sea. Okay, so they can be taken deep from deep sea. Okay, oil can be found or the petroleum can be found under the sea. Now here comes the third fossil fuel, which is natural gas. Natural gas is used for cooking, heating, and powering engines of vehicles. As we know that it is a kind of fossil fuel, and fossil fuels are those substances which give off heat when they are burned. So it means it is going to serve world's energy. So it serves about 21% of world's energy. After completion of fossil fuels, in which we had learned that oil serves about 40% of world's energy, coal serves about 25%, and the natural gas serves about 21% of energy. Okay. Beside fossil fuels, the other source of energy are water, wind, sun, and nuclear energy. Water provides us energy, so it is a source of energy. Wind also gives us energy, so it would be included in also source of energy. Sun gives us heat and light, so it is the source of energy. Nuclear energy is a form of energy which is which we can say that which is created by nuclear fuel. Now we would learn about them one by one, and we would see that how water, wind, sun, and nuclear fuels are responsible for creating energy and how they're doing it. So here comes the very first other source of energy, which is water. So let's see that how water is serving as a source of energy. So here comes water as a source of energy. Hydroelectric power is generated by turbines driven by falling water. The falling water can generate the turbines. Okay, as you can observe in the picture that the falling water is falling under the pressure and it can generate the power. This power is known as hydroelectric power. Hydro is a word that always indicates water, so electric power that is generated by water is called as hydroelectric power. And how hydroelectric power is generated? It is generated by turbines driving by falling water. How the turbines are driven? By falling water. Water, as we are talking about water as a source of energy, so we use dams, and you can see that the dams are built to store water in artificial lakes. Water is released in pressure that generate electricity. This water is released under pressure, so it can generate the electricity by you can see that there are the generators which can be started by the pressure exerted by water, the falling water. So, as we have learnt about, hydroelectric power is generated by turbines driving by falling water, and huge dams are built to store water in artificial lakes. The water is released under the great pressure to drive the turbines that generate electricity. After that, there is another kind of, you can say, the source of energy, which the energy is known as nuclear energy. And what is the source of that energy? Any nuclear fuel. Any nuclear fuel. What is the nuclear fuel? Nuclear fuel are the substances which are used to create energy or to originate energy. Right? Uranium is a name of element. It's a name of an element. Okay, what happens in it? Uranium is put into the nuclear reactors that produces amount of energy. Okay, nuclear fuel is put into a nuclear reactor and it produces great amount of energy. Nuclear generators produce electricity. The nuclear plants produce radioactivity and deadly waste. Nuclear energy is cheap and limitless, but its future looks uncertain because of the cost and concerns about its safety. It is a cheap method of creating electricity. Okay, it is easily affordable. Here comes another source of energy, which is sun, and as we know that it is the great source of energy. The sun is the great source of energy and it gives heat and light. What kind of energies it gives? It gives heat and light. As you can see in the picture that how the sun energy or the solar energy is used to generate electricity. Solar panels convert solar energy which are used to convert sunlight into electricity. Now these are the solar panels or the collectors. What do? They collect the sunlight and convert it into electricity. This is how we can generate electricity by the use of solar energy. Okay, it is very advantageous process because we are using the natural resource for producing energy. So we must know that the great source of energy. What is the great source of energy? That is sun. Why? Because it gives us heat and light, right? And we use solar collectors at our home. What do? They convert the solar energy into electricity. Okay, so sun is the greatest source of energy and it gives us heat and light energy which is converted in other forms by solar collectors which are used to heat homes and water. The solar panels collect heat from the sun and the solar cells convert sunlight into electricity. This is how we use the sun to generate electricity. Now students, here comes another type of source of energy which is wind. First, we must know that what does wind mean? Wind means the moving air. The moving air is wind. It is a free and constant source of energy. What happens? Wind generators convert the motion of wind into electricity. Okay? With the windmills, there are number of the generators attached with it. What do these generators do? These wind generators convert the motion of wind into electricity. It is a valuable source of energy and but it is a costly method. Okay, the machines which are attached here, they are very expensive. Okay, so wind is a free and constant source of energy. Wind generators convert the motion of wind into electricity. It is a valuable source of energy, but it takes hundreds of very large machines, very large plus costly machines to obtain useful amount. A a wind turbine produces energy as its blades turn in the wind. So students, here come some facts about energy resources and Pakistan. Up till now we have learnt about Fossil fuels as source of energy, and fossil fuels include coal, oil, and natural gas. We have seen that how they are producing energy and how we are taking benefits from these sources of energy. Okay, then we learned about some other sources of energy including sun, wind, hydroelectric power, and nuclear fuels. Now here comes some of the practice which is done in Pakistan. So from here we will see the resources of energy in Pakistan. So let's get started. Now here comes the fossil fuels. Here we are about to see that how fossil fuels are used in Pakistan. Okay, we won't see that how they are produced and how they are done and what kind of fossil fuels are there. We will just see that how these fossil fuels work in Pakistan and how do we utilize them for getting energy. So if we talk about the coal, it is found in salt range around Quetta and in lower Sindh. Pakistan has low quality coal that produces a lot of smoke and ash. Okay, that increases the air pollution as well. Then, if we talk about oil or the petroleum, oil fields are located in Potwar Plateau and Lower Sindh. Where they are located? They are located in Potwar Plateau and Lower Sindh. Lagari oil fields. It is the name of oil field, and this is the largest in Pakistan. This is the largest oil field in Pakistan. Then here comes the natural gas. It is the most important source of energy in Pakistan. Okay, what is the most important source of energy in Pakistan? That is natural gas. The gas fields are located in Balochistan, Sindh, and Punjab. The largest gas field is at Sui, which is the area of Balochistan, and the second largest gas field is at Murray. Okay, so we must know about these things that from where Pakistan gets the majority of its coal from salt range around Quetta and in lower Sindh. Okay, if we talk about the oil, Lagari oil fields are the largest in Pakistan. Natural gas is the most important source of energy in Pakistan. Okay, and it is located in Balochistan especially, but in Sindh and Punjab there are also gas fields. Electricity is produced in Pakistan by different ways. Okay, the most practiced ways to produce electricity in Pakistan are hydro and thermal. Hydro and thermal. Hydro, I told you the meaning of this word. The meaning of this word is water. So we'll see that how water is used for electricity. Previously, we have discussed about hydroelectric power. Okay, here we are going to see how hydroelectric power is generated in Pakistan. So we have two of the dams, which are Mangla and Tarbela, and most of the Pakistan's hydroelectric power comes from there. Okay. Apart from this, if we talk about the thermal way of producing electricity, it is done by burning of coal, oil, and natural gas, which are the fossil fuels. Okay, we know that what are the fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are the substances that give off heat when they burn. Okay, so when they burn, they produce heat. It means they produce temperature. That's why we call them as thermal. So we can generate the electricity by thermal ways in Pakistan, and it is done by burning coal, oil, and natural gas. Students, here comes some of the other resources of energy in Pakistan. We use solar energy, LPG, wind, and biogas. Do you know what is biogas? Biogas plants have been developed in many rural areas of our country. How it is produced? Biogas is produced by cow dung and human waste. You might have seen the cow dung used by the rural people. What do? They use it to make biogas, and there are many benefits of cow dung. So we must know that biogas plants are produced by cow dung and human waste. All these share a little in energy. We must know this thing that they are not the large source of energy in Pakistan. They share only little energy with Pakistan. Okay. Now we are about to see that how nuclear energy is from where we are getting nuclear energy in Pakistan. We have a nuclear power plant at Karachi which is known as Kanab. Kanab is basically it's an abbreviation. Okay, KA represents Karachi, NU nuclear, P power, P plant. It means Karachi nuclear power plant. Okay, so the nuclear power plant at Karachi is known as Kanab. Another nuclear plant is near the completion of Chashma, which is known as Chashnab. Chash is showing Chashma, Nab is showing nuclear power plant. These are two nuclear power plants in Pakistan, and this nuclear energy is used in Pakistan. So, students, now this is the time to say goodbye to all of you, and thank you so much for listening to me. What you have to do, you have to read the chapter properly, you have to underline the main points from these pages from this chapter. Okay, so inshallah we shall meet in the next class or in school as well. So thank you so much, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.